Ladies, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I've got to ask you right off the top, how are things going? Al, I'm going to start with you. How are things going? Like, where are you right now? And how are things going in your area? Because, of course, we've all been for the last 13 months dealing with COVID-19 and the changing of this new world.
Well, I'm currently at my apartment here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I think, I can speak for well, not just people in the arts community, but in any community that we've had to adapt. We've had to find new ways to be creative. We've had to kind of think outside the box. Luckily, I'm at a point right now where I'm doing a lot of songwriting. I'm in the studio recording. And Twin Kennedy are kind of in my bubble. So I've been fortunate enough to still be able to work while I'm here in Nashville at a safe distance. But yeah, it's been challenging, as I'm sure every other artist, is going through right now. But it's been exciting. It's forced me to learn new things that I wouldn't have in the past. It's also allowed me to collaborate with people I wouldn't have maybe done. So there's definitely a silver lining to a lot of it. But the challenging part was definitely to adapt, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Twin Kennedy, same thing. Are you guys in Nashville and dealing with the same situation?
We are,
We
yeah.
are.
We've all been living this homebound COVID life for a while now. But like Mallory said, we've found a lot of time to do things that are creative and to learn new things and to create projects that we can still share virtually, like this new single that we're doing together as a duet. It's given us time to work on some really cool video projects and really throw our hearts into the music and into the content that we can share with everyone via the World Wide Web.
Okay, now look, I know I'm gonna get confused because you guys look exactly like
Well,
Okay,
especially
today.
we wore the same outfits. We don't usually dress in the same thing, but today is the Wise Woman music video release
So
day.
we thought it was fitting, and yeah, we're just trying to confuse you, but it's Julie, Carly.
It's okay. I'll answer to either.
We
name.
answer to both.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'm just gonna let you all answer whatever way you want to do. Look, Nashville's had a really tough time. I can talk about what's going on in Toronto, Canada, but you guys have had tornadoes and with COVID, and because the music scene, which I always consider number one in the world, you want to go anywhere for writing, discovering music, things like that. Nashville is the place to go. And with all the venues shut down, I mean, how are you guys dealing with all this?
It's definitely a challenge. I think you learn how strong you are. I think when those challenges are thrown at you, you really find out, wow, I can handle anything. And I think
It was a lot of change in the last year. We had a whole tour that was across North America, a whole album meant to come out, and it all got pushed with COVID. But we just feel grateful to be healthy and to be able to be with our families, our friends, like Mallory, still making music. And I think, like you said, you just find your strength and you adapt and you keep pushing forward. I know some people lost their homes with the tornadoes. There is so many levels of adapting definitely happening in Music City, but we're trying to always stay focused on the positive and focused on the good stuff that comes out of it and how you rebuild and how you join together and you find that strength. That's a really powerful thing.
Mallory, were you gonna be touring when all this hit?
I was. I actually so the tornado happened the 3rd of March, the 2nd or 3rd of March, and I was getting ready to go on tour. I was supposed to tour with the Reclaws on the east coast of Canada, and then I was supposed to do across the country in Canada for a radio tour. So I flew home on the 11th of March, thinking with a suitcase full of sequins, thinking that I was going on tour. And literally a day later, I started getting phone calls with venues canceling. And then I think the Junos announced that they were postponing or canceling, and then all the sports teams. And then it was just inevitable. And I was like, well, I guess I'm here. So I was then in Newfoundland from March until this most recent November. So I spent all this time in Newfoundland, lost all my gigs. However, that being said, I did get to collaborate with a lot of local artists because at the time our cases were really low. We were fortunate enough to keep most of our venues open at a certain capacity, so there was still live music. and so that was great. So I still got to play. But yeah, I spent a lot more time at home than I anticipated.
Well, let me just add to you guys. I was literally on the plane headed to Saskatoon for the Juno Awards, and it was on
Yeah.
the plane when we found out that it was going to be canceled. Literally walked off, went
Oh,
to the kiosk,
yeah.
had to book my other ticket to fly back, had to wait about 5, 6 hours. Anybody knows about the cold in Saskatoon? Brutal. Brutal. It didn't
Yeah.
matter how warm I thought my coat was, did not match up at all. Got back home, so yeah, it was definitely a crazy time. So, how did this collaboration come about? Mallory, you were talking about twins. I'm going to ask you, how did you three get together to create this great video and song, especially as you were talking about celebrating women this month? And we just finished, well, I wouldn't say finished, but just started celebrating Women's Day throughout this month.
Yes, I love that. We just started. And we feel like we just started too. We put the song out a couple of weeks ago, but this has been a couple of years in the making.
Oh, yeah.
So we wrote the song together. It's about 2 years ago. Went in the studio, recorded it. It was supposed to come out on our record last year, but because of COVID, it got pushed. And we actually realized, speaking of silver lining, it allowed us to put so much more focus into this song and give it the love and the attention that we feel like it deserves, because it's not just about our stories as women, but we found through this whole project, recording the song, creating the video with over 50 women from across the continent, this is a message that speaks to all women.
Well, yeah, we all wrote it together, and we all wanted to record it. So it was like,
Yeah.
obviously it's speaking to us, and it's meant to be released as a duet.
Yeah, so we did it as a team project, and the video is out now in the
Just
world.
came out.
And it's just been a total project of love for us.
Mallory, who approached who on this? When did you hear about this project, and how did you get involved with this? How did this beautiful story begin for you?
So I wish I could take credit, but that
Go
goes.
ahead.
Carly was the one who brought this title and this verse. to the
Hold on. Which one's Carly?
Carl. Just kidding. That's Carly.
I knew you were going to do this to me. Okay, so we got the right one. Continue, please.
So it was in 2018, like Julie said, it was a couple years ago. We were all here in Nashville, and we had planned to have a songwriting session one evening. But we're all really close friends, so an evening songwriting session doesn't usually turn into a songwriting session. It's like, open the bottle of wine, let's, just have a girls' night kind of thing. And if we write a song, great. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. But this particular night, we were out on their back patio, and with a bottle of wine open, just kind of chatting. Carly was like, I'm going to go get my guitar and show you this song idea that I think we should write. Grabs her guitar, comes out, and she was like, I have this title, Wise Woman. I have a little bit written. I want to show it to you, see what you think. So she just played the first verse of this song, and I don't even think we changed much about the first verse. It was so amazing off the top that I got emotional. I got goosebumps. I definitely, my eyes were a little wet. And we just spent the night talking about the challenges and the lessons, both the good and the bad, of being a woman in a very male-dominated country music industry in particular. And we were very careful with writing the songs. We knew we wanted to do it justice. We knew it was an important topic. We wanted to do it the right way. And we wanted to showcase both the triumphs and the challenges. So it ended up being a girl power anthem. And I just feel so lucky and blessed that I was in the room when this song was written. And I just love these girls so much for trusting me with this song and wanting me to be a part of it. So that's kind of how it came to be. And here we are.
I think that...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to respond to Mallory because I think she's being so sweet. It's obviously, the songs are, as you know, it's a collaboration between everyone. And I think when you're writing with your closest friends and it feels like this safe space where you can say anything and talk through the struggles and all of the stories like were necessary to write the song, that's what creates something special. I think we knew from the start because we are best friends. We know each other so well, but we have that connection both musically and personally. It's what also helped to make this something really special to all of us.
And I knew the song idea, and I specifically was like, we're waiting till Mallory comes over to write
right.
this. So that's the other side of the story. I was like, we need her.
She's a wise woman.
Mallory, I want to go back to you again about what you were just talking about, how difficult it is for women in this business, because you would think by now things would have changed, but I want to know your thoughts on women in front of the microphone, women behind the scenes as engineers, as producers, president of record companies. Why we're not seeing this as much as we should, and why in some ways it's still that boys club.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, where women just aren't being represented as much in record labels, as engineers, as producers, as places on the radio, especially in our genre and country music. But I think that kind of applies to any genre. We're just not given as many seats at the table, and it has nothing to do with lack of talent. Women, I think, work just as hard. Actually, I think women try to prove themselves a little more often than the guys, because for this exact reason, that we're fighting for seats at the table when there's not as many seats that's available for us. So I'd like to see a time in the industry where we're not, constantly talking about the challenges of being a woman in the industry. It's talking about the challenges of being in the industry as a whole, and not just based on us being females. I think it should be based on the best song wins, or who works the hardest, or who has educated themselves, or, who is constantly trying to learn and adapt and better themselves. And yeah, I do think it is changing for the better. I do think there are people in the industry who are stepping up and opening those doors and welcoming that. But I think we do have a long ways to go as well.
But I will say this much: June Award announcements, the country category, only Dallas Smith is the guy in it. Everybody else is women. That has to show some kind of, moving ahead when you see something like this in such an important category. Ladies, what do you think?
I think so. That's really exciting.
It's progress. And we think the girls are awesome. We think the guys are awesome. I think it's just about, like Mallory said, let's celebrate all music, and we look forward to the day that the conversation isn't a female artist versus a male artist. It's just artists.
Absolutely. We got to start looking at that. I'm just curious, before we start getting into the new single and the video, who are your female heroes? Mal, I'm going to start with you.
My mom is a big one. I grew up watching my mom play. She's a country artist as well. I remember being 3 years old, looking out my window at my aunt and uncle's house, because there was a big festival happening basically in the backyard. And I was watching my mom sing Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton. So I grew up surrounded by music. My family has always been a very big inspiration and my biggest supporters in everything I've done musically. So my mom is always my number one answer. But then, of course, Dolly Parton, again, is another big one, because I listened to her growing up. I'm just a really big fan of women who are not afraid to make statements that might make people uncomfortable just because it's the truth. I like sense of humor. I just like powerful songs, and not songs that are necessarily sugar-coated just to please everybody. So those are people like Casey Musgraves, Brandy Clark, Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn. So it's these really powerful female role models that I really aspire and look up to.
Ladies, your answer.
Yes. Oh, I mean, everyone Mallory listed have been musical inspirations for us, for sure. I mean, we started out playing about 3 years old in a family band too, and have been blessed to have so many female mentors, through the years. And that's in both country music and in classical music. I think of, the Leona Boyds playing guitar, and I would see her on stage and look up to her.
The Lafayette String Quartet I studied with at University of Victoria. Like, those women are so independent and strong
respected
and,
as musicians for sure. So we and then we've got people like Shania who I think we have a lot of hidden music videos that we made at like 7 years old.
Yeah, we actually recently just found a bunch of Kennedy family videos, and Carly and Julie were making their own
like Shania Twain videos, lip syncing to her. So she was a really big inspiration for us
because she was, I feel like, fearless. She cut the path for a lot of women, and she made music videos and was just confident and proud of her womanhood. Yeah. And I think that to us as little girls, we thought, we want to do the same thing. And I don't know if we ever dreamed we'd be making music videos with each other and our bestie. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, look, before we get into this the single again, I keep saying that, but I have to ask, what is the best trick that the two of you have ever pulled on somebody as twins? I know, just listening to the two of you, I'm like, okay, you guys are gangster. I know it. You guys have been up to something.
Oh yeah, we've tried like many times where it wasn't successful, but the absolute best time was we both went to university to study classical music, like Carly said, and I took a guitar class, and I am not the guitar player, I'm the fiddle player. So the professor had heard me all semester kind of plunking it out, and then the final exam fell on April Fool's Day. And I was like, I'm never going to have this opportunity ever again. And so I sent her in, and I think the assignment was to just play any song and sing. And everyone was peeking through the door. The teacher was just like,
well, he didn't know there was two of us. So
he had no idea. And so she's playing.
A lot of fun.
And he was just like, probably in his head thinking, I'm an amazing teacher. Like, she just improved by like 20 years. Yeah, that was my favorite ever. Yeah. And I did eventually poke my head in, but I don't think that he listened to my final exam at all because he just loved it so much. So he gave me an A+. So thanks, Carly.
The three of you are amazing, but that is funny. Look, let's get into Wise Woman, the inspiration behind it. How did this come about lyrically and musically? How did this come about?
Well, as we talked about, this was inspired by our shared experiences in the music industry as women, and the song itself just came out a little over a week ago, and the music video is now in the world. So the goal with the song is that it's not just our message that we hear in it, but it's the story of women in any industry. So the video itself features over 50 women from across North America, everything from teachers to heavy
police women,
machine operators,
like weightlifters. We also have our mothers in there, our sisters, our nieces. So the song talks all about just standing out, not being afraid to have your voice heard. Like the lyrics of the chorus say, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't stand there in that line. I'd be standing out. And all these women are standing out and look incredible. We're so excited to feature them.
Mallory, what is your favorite lyric or part of the song? What stands out for you the most that really represents the strength of the song?
It's really hard to narrow it down. There are a couple lines in there that I'm really, really proud of. One is, play nice, play house, and play along. And then, my education and his opinion aren't the same. Those lines are obviously talking about the challenges. There's been situations where I know the girls have been in the situation as well, where we have been in a room and we felt that our voice wasn't as valued as the male voice in the room. That our opinions, even though they might be backed up by, it might be an educated answer or an educated opinion, we aren't taken as seriously as some of the guys. And that doesn't happen all the time. We have mentors and colleagues and other people we work with and write with that very much value our opinions, and we're equals in the room. But there has been times here or there where we have felt that. So those are some of my favorite lines when talking about the challenges. But I do really love some of the lines when talking about the lessons that we've learned and the positive things. It's like, as cliche as it sounds, trust your heart and trust your gut. right? That's a line, right?
Oh,
trust
yeah.
trust your heart. I couldn't remember. Sorry. Trust your heart, trust your
Yeah,
gut.
you wrote it.
Yeah. And then also the see, I can't make up my mind on what lines I like the best, but I also really love turning a blind eye won't hide what you don't want to see.
Oh.
And I think that's powerful because a lot of people just kind of look the other way or brush it off or that kind of thing. But I was like, that doesn't fix it. That doesn't change it. Just because you don't want to look at it or hear it doesn't mean it's not happening. So I really love that line for that reason. So.
Mallory, we were talking about before we started this interview that you guys did a show or a concert. What was going on with this? Can you explain that, please?
Yes. So we recently filmed a Wise Woman the Show, and it's sponsored by the Canadian Consulate to the Southeast United States. And it is airing on the 26th of this month. And it features so many amazing artists. Oh my gosh, people we have looked up to in the industry, people who are friends of ours, and just people we just love so much and are just inspired by all the time. I'm gonna let the girls elaborate even more because I know they're just as excited, so I don't want to take this whole question.
All right, ladies, you're next.
We're so excited about the show. The cool thing is, I mean, at the beginning of this interview, we were talking about COVID. We were talking about how all of us have adapted and, you know, spent a lot more time at home. And so we wanted to create that live concert experience. When we first wrote this song, we visioned the Wise Woman tour and going on the road together. But this was honestly something even more wonderful than we could have imagined at the start of the project because it's a virtual concert for everyone across the world and it's free. So everyone can tune in, and it's really that whole live concert, but you know, you feel like you're at the show.
Yeah.
Not just in our own living rooms, which we've all done a lot of, you know, virtual performances and things like
But it's
this.
at one of the most gorgeous venues in Nashville. So it's at the Analog at Hutton Hotel. It is an iconic, just beautiful stage.
Yeah.
And it's world-class talent. So you get to see this concert that people in anywhere but Nashville wouldn't be able to watch, and now we get to share it with the world
Through the computer.
Yes. And on top of that, the women also, there's a special segment where they share their wisdom. So speaking of wise women, they share their advice, they share the stories that they've learned along the way, and honestly, just watching the raw footage back, we were tearing up because I'll get goosebumps hearing these stories of women, and I think it's going to really resonate with girls, women around the world because we need to hear the stories. I think that we don't create change unless we start the conversation. So we're grateful for you. We're having this conversation. This is when we change the world.
Amen to that. As we're slowly wrapping this up, I'll ask the twins separately, what are your plans for 2021? Are you guys coming out with an album? Are you going to be doing your own tour? What's happening?
We have an album. It's called Homebound, which has taken on really a whole new meaning in the last year. It's about being homebound from a tour, but now homebound means
for real.
We're here. We're homebound. Well, permanently for now. But we love it. We're really excited about the project, and Miss Mallory has a really amazing record in the works as well.
Then we throw to Mallory.
Yeah, no, I'm currently in the studio with Kent Wells, who's produced Dolly Parton's last few projects. He plays in her band, and he's an amazing guy, and he's been so wonderful. And speaking of people who do lift up female voices and do appreciate our opinions, he's let me have a lot of control, which has been amazing. It's definitely been a collaborative thing, and he's made me feel like my voice does matter and has made me feel very special. So it's been a wonderful experience so far, and yeah, it's a full-length record, so I'm excited to get it out to everybody.
Fantastic. As we, again, wrap this up here, one of the things I love to ask about, because with COVID, we've all been wearing masks. What is your favorite mask to wear? I'm going to ask the twins first. What's your favorite mask to wear?
Oh my gosh. Carly got these made for us and gave them to us the day the song came out.
I love that. Oh my
I know.
goodness.
It was so sweet. So it matches my t-shirt. I'm all wise womaned out today, but we also have some really special masks from the Canadian Consulate, the sponsor of
Yeah.
our upcoming show, and we've been sporting our Canada masks all over Nashville.
Where can we get them?
Those are special order from the consulate, but we're gonna have some special gift bags that people can enter to win. So if they sign up, we've got a link. It's on both of our Facebook pages. You can find us at twinkennedy.com, MalloryJohnsonMusic.com, and they'll be able to enter. We're gonna have some contests so they can get their own special Canada masks and some Wise Women too.
Yeah.
You gotta get it for Canada Day. Mallory, what's your favorite mask?
Well, my favorite mask is the same one that the girls had on. I would show it to you, but I've used it, so it's currently in my laundry basket.
No, that's a good thing. Right. You know what? The fact that A, you're using it, and B, you're washing it. I don't know how many times I've walked by somebody's car, they've got this dirty mask hanging off of them going, please, just spray it. I don't care. Like, glue on it, something, just clean it. So at least we know that you're part of this whole system of taking care of each other, which is important. Social media is the place to go. Mallory, where do we go to follow you?
So for the most part, you can find me at Mal Johnson Music. That's Instagram and Twitter. Facebook is Mallory Johnson Music. But my website is MalloryJohnsonMusic.com, and that has links to all my socials anyway.
Twin Kennedy, where do we go to follow you?
Everything is at Twin Kennedy.
We're easy to find. Yep.
Fantastic. Ladies, thank you so much for this interview. It was so much fun. Congratulations on this, I consider, historic single that hopefully is going to help keep this momentum going for women in music, business, whatever they're doing, motherhood, whatever they're doing. The show, there is pride in what all women do. Thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for this. Be safe. And let's hope that the next time around we talk, it won't be on the screen. Either I'll be in Nashville to talk to you guys in person, or you're performing here in Toronto performing. And I cannot wait for that. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.